What's going on YouTube? My name is Luke Waters, and today I'm going to go into an in-depth view on how I cammed my Pontiac G8 for under $500. Now there is a big disclaimer I need to say at the beginning of this video. Some parts that I got were used, and I got some pretty darn good deals on these used parts. I'm just letting you guys know before I get anywhere into this video. If you guys have any more questions on why everything is so cheap that I got. So when I bought my Pontiac G8, one of the things I wanted to do was delete the DOD, or the Active Fuel Management System, in the engine. For those of you guys who do not know, what that is when you're on the highway, it'll turn into a 4-cylinder, and sometimes that fails, and when it fails, it wipes out the cam, sends metal shavings off through your engine. It's just bad news. You don't want it. You want to get rid of it as soon as possible. Now, I did not buy this car to be a race car or performance car. I bought it to be the ultimate daily driver. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to find a cam where I can use the stock push rods, stock valve train, stock rockers. I wanted this thing to act as stock as possible. When I was looking for cams, there was 3 cams that came to mind. There was a stock LS2 cam, the stock LS3 cam, and the stock LS9 cam. Now, I believe the stock LS9 cam is a 3-bolt system instead of a single bolt, and it would have been spending extra money to get the 3-bolt setup, so I decided to go with that one. So instead, I decided to buy the single bolt LS3 cam. I managed to find one used with 10,000 miles on it for $100. Now, if you join any Camaro page, you can find these pretty easily. Just make sure you don't get a VVT cam. Those will not work. You'll have to get VVT lifters and VVT everything else. Pain in the butt, don't do that. Just get the single bolt cam that came out of the Camaros to be safe. Get one that came out of a manual. It would be guaranteed the cam that you are looking for. And make sure it's a single bolt. I believe all factory ones are single bolt. I could be wrong, but just double check on that. The next thing I did, I sourced out my own gaskets. All I did, I bought a new head gasket and new water pump gaskets. And that total was about $80 off Rock Auto. I didn't decide to get a new timing cover gasket because it's really thick metal, and I decided to reuse it, and I've reused it with no leaks so far. So far, so good on that. You know, it's up to you if you want to get a new gasket. I just saved probably about $40 not getting a gasket. I decided to get ARP head bolts. That cost about $110. I got the Pro Series, which is the upgraded version of the regular ARP head bolts, which the regular ones are just fine. For some reason, the other ones were on sale, so I was like, oh, I'll pick these up. They were $110. Now, here is where this cam swap got really sketchy. I decided to use used LS7 lifters, and using used lifters was a pretty big gamble on my end, honestly. LS7 lifters are becoming very, very hard to get a hold of. But luckily my brother had a G8 where he pulled his LS7 lifters out of it, and my buddy Martin also had a G8 where he had some LS7 lifters laying around from his old engine, borrowed some of their lifters, and voila, they miraculously worked. I was a little scared because on the driver's side, the head, I could really push the push rod down, and I was worried that, oh crap, these are bad lifters. But ran it for a little bit, they pumped up, and yeah, they are just fine. They don't make any noise. The car is super quiet, and that was probably the most risky thing I did on this whole operation. Used lifters terrify me because when they get stored, you don't know what contaminants got into them, and you don't know what the quality of that spring is, especially on a used one. And it's funny because when my buddy brought over his from his old G8, they were in a Meyer bag that was on his garage floor for months, but you know what? They worked just fine like brand new ones, so risk and reward, I guess. I got rewarded that time. And now a lot of people, when they cam their cars, they want to get the ARP crank bolt. Honestly, it's kind of a ripoff in my opinion. Here's what you do. You go to Rock Auto once again, you look up crank bolts for a 6-liter, and you just buy those. They're like $3 a piece or $7 a piece. They're dirt cheap. I think I bought 4 of them, and it was $10 cheaper than the ARP bolt. I don't plan on taking off my harmonic balancer anytime soon. The one that's on it right now is pretty much brand new, so there's no reason for me to take it off anytime in the future unless something else fails in this cam swap. One of my buddies also had an extra timing tensioner laying around. I got pretty lucky on all these parts that I found for this car. I got a lot of secondhand parts that I got for super good deals or almost free. I think I gave them $10 for the timing chain tensioner. I don't think they're that expensive, but yeah, for under $500, I pretty much easily put a different cam in my G8. Now, a lot of people out there, when they throw a cam in, they obviously want to go for performance, which is fine. So let's talk about kits. Cam kits that you can buy from Texas Speed, BTR, Rick Crawford, any of those things. With my Caprice, I went with the BTR Stage 4 cam kit, which cost me roughly around, with a torque converter, $1,800. And honestly, knowing what I know now, I would have done what I did to the G8 with what I did to my Caprice. Only thing missing I would need to basically get a cam that's in the Caprice to work in the G8 is obviously the camshaft, which brand new, they're about $400, but you can find them used for about $250. Valve springs, which I can't remember how much they are new, but you can see them used for about $100. And push rods, which push rods brand new. Chromoly ones are $80. So for what, an extra $400, I would have had a cam kit that was the exact same for my Caprice I could have used for the G8. And the good thing is, now that I deleted the DOD, if I wanted to throw a cam in this thing, all I have to do is use these little lifter dowels that you push through the oil valley, and they hold your lifters up so you can pull a camshaft out and put a new cam in. So I really don't even have to pull the heads if I want to swapping cams on this thing. If I can find some dual valve springs for a good deal used, I might do that if I can find a good cam for a good deal. But honestly, the performance of the LS3 cam is pretty good. Like, I'm pretty impressed with it. Now, the car is kind of quote-unquote tuned. It does not have a cold air intake. It has, obviously all the maintenance onto it. It has cap deletes. So that could have had all a factor in it, but the car feels super healthy with a stock Camaro cam in it, with basically the timing hasn't been adjusted. The fueling needs adjusted, but has not been adjusted at all. Honestly, the car just runs really, really well, and I'm pretty impressed by it. So if you want to do something budget with your cars, or even this can apply for any LS vehicle actually. So if you're out there and you want to cam an LS vehicle, don't be afraid to. It's not nearly as hard as people make it out to be. Now granted, I did use a stock cam in this car, but I was not far away from using a performance one. If I wanted to talk about the extra couple $100, I could have, and I would have been under $1,000 for a cam swap of something that I pieced together myself. So me personally, obviously, if you're a first timer with these cars and you don't know what to do, obviously buy a cam kit. Now that's up to you. I like BTR personally. They always had good customer service. Obviously, the chop of their cams is fantastic. That's just my personal preference. I like BTR, so BTR sponsor me. If you own a Pontiac G8 or a car with anything with active fuel management, like a lot of 5.3 Silverados or any kind of truck, do not be scared to do your own cam swap. You can do it really cheap. I believe you can use this 6.2 LS3 cam and a 5.3 as well. So if you have something with displacement on demand and you want to swap out the cams to get rid of that, to make your daily driver more reliable, I know it's funny to say that, oh, you swap the cam to make it more reliable, but it's true. Feel free to do it. Do some homework, figure out what cam works best for your car, and just go at it. Like, this is obviously my second cam swap I've done to an LS car. So obviously some tips if you plan on camming your own car. Make sure you get all your parts first. Make sure you order the right parts. Double check before you crack open the engine, and honestly, you should be fine. And funny enough, including the oils and coolant, I'm shy under $500, but I don't really consider that part of the cam swap. So don't be afraid to open up your engine and try the cam swap yourself. I mean, I saved myself a bunch of money doing the work myself, but honestly, it's not that hard, guys. I do have a series where I pulled the cam out of this thing and swapped it. It's a little DOD delete series. If you guys want to watch that, go ahead and find it on my channel elsewhere. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video for a while, talking about the G8 and how much I spent on the cam swap and what I did. I figured this video would be really helpful for some people out there. I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, well, how much does a cam swap cost? Obviously, if I went to a shop, expect the price to have another $1,000 on top of it with parts and with labor and everything else. But me doing it myself, I saved a bunch of money. If you want to try this yourself, go for it. Just make sure if you are a first timer doing a cam swap, make sure you have a different car to drive. Don't expect to get this done in a weekend. This one took me 2 months with me taking my time and making sure everything was all clean and right. My first one took me like 6 months because I really wanted to take my time, make sure it was perfect. And both cars run fantastic. I have no complaints. But like I said, if you have a Pontiac G8 and your goal is just to delete the DOD and maybe get a little bit of power, I want to see how much power this thing makes now. I want to put it on a dyno, get it properly tuned, put some good gas in it, because the gas in this thing is from 2 years old. It's been sitting a long time. I'm sure the gas in this thing is completely disgusting. But I would like to put some new gas in it, get it on a dyno, and kind of see what kind of power numbers I get with a stock 6.2 cam and a 6-liter. I would say I probably picked up about 30 wheel horsepower from the butt dyno, and that's not even with it being tuned properly. Like, it's not tuned all the way. We just basically tuned it to drive it home. But we're going to get it tuned in. We're going to get it dialed in. And I might honestly get this thing on a dyno. I'm just so curious to see what power this thing makes. Like, I'm pretty surprised at what a stock LS3 Camaro cam did to this thing. So that's going to be the video for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If this video has been helpful with deciding on what you want to do with your car with a cam swap, I hope it did. Make sure to leave a like. Leave a comment down below what cam you guys prefer for your own cars. I like to see what you guys think. As always, it's been Luke Waters, and I'll see you guys in the next video. That